So there's a lot of people saying that our experiences, they're bigger than just us. But the question is it? Well, initially, I'll be honest with you, initially it was triggering for me. And no, it's not out of ego, because if I show myself some compassion for the things that I go through, I don't feel there's anything wrong with that. I think that used to be triggering for me because it almost felt like my experiences were belittled. Oh, I should just toss my emotions to the side and focus on the bigger picture, whatever that may be. The thing is, I believe it depends on what stage you're in order to not be triggered by the whole it's bigger than you. So when you're going through the stages before you get to the healing stage, especially if you're an empath, your emotions are at a high level at all times. You're nowhere close to being at a level to where you can focus on or even figure out what the bigger picture is, in my opinion. I mean, you can barely wrap your head around what's happening to you, let alone figure out the ins and outs of whatever the bigger picture means. Now, I absolutely do agree that whatever we experience, even though it feels exclusive to us, the agenda is bigger than us. Why these people do the things that they do, I do feel is definitely bigger than us. Now, everybody is different with different experiences or different forms of torture, should I say. But I believe that there's things at play that we just don't have a clue that's going on. You know, this is part of the reason why I feel speaking on your experiences is so important, because each one of us who go through this, we have our own story to tell. And I believe somehow, in some way, our stories are connected. I mean, what are the odds of people across the globe going through this, and the only thing people can say to justify what we're going through is we're crazy or we're paranoid? I mean, that's questionable. It's bigger than just us. I guess I phrase it a little bit differently. I guess I say, like, what's happening to us is more going on than just what we experience. But we do play a huge part in it because we actually are the ones that's going through it. I think we need to just figure out what part we play in this whole thing. Maybe we're supposed to do our part with our experiences by being strong enough to speak on our personal experiences with the individuals who target us directly. And what I mean by that is, I can't speak on what someone, let's say in France or Germany, is going through, because I'm not there. I don't know their situation. You know, I don't know who's targeting them or why. I just don't know any of that information. But what I can speak on is my situation, because I do know who these various groups of people are. I do know why they target me, and trust me, the reasons vary. Now, even though I can only speak on my personal experiences, I don't know, maybe that'll help whoever in Paris or maybe Germany or wherever with their situation. It's like, even though we go through things differently, the similarities, they're just way too obvious. How people are going through this across the globe and still being called crazy, that's just not logical to me. So it's like the whole "it's bigger than us" phrase. I like to look at it as far as helping each other, not just by knowing that we're not alone, but actually healing from it and getting back to our lives. I know it's easier for us to speak about the tortures that we go through, but it's just as important for us to speak about healing, you know. But for those of you who are at the beginning stages of this nightmare and you're overwhelmed and stressed out because you're being heavily targeted, I actually think it's too soon for you to focus on whatever is happening being bigger than you. That's just my personal opinion. If someone hasn't gone through it, it's easy to say it's bigger than you. Or even if they have gone through it, at those crucial stages, you're already overwhelmed. You need to focus on your mental well-being first and foremost. Now, I'm no medical professional, but I believe you do have to first get through those stages before the healing stage. Because from my experience, the healing stage is when you're strong enough to even recognize the fact that, wait a minute, there's more to this. Now, if you're going through this and you're an empath, your emotions are probably tapped out and you can't even help anyone else until you do some kind of self-care to be able to first help yourself. You know, I'm an empath, so I know how sensitive you get when you're going through some mess like this. At first, you spend a lot of time trying to understand how it's even possible for people to even have the heart to do the things that they do to another person. Like, that's a different type of evil. Then on top of that, if it's being done by people you actually know, you have to wrap your head around that. I mean, I know some people do crazy things for money, but if you're an empath, that's a struggle to wrap your head around. So I don't think it's just that easy to see that, you know, is bigger than just you at the beginning, because you shouldn't rush yourself to see that. Go at your own pace, guys. Love on yourself first. Show yourself some compassion first and foremost. Give yourself the time that you need until you can come to terms with what's happening to you and why, at least. Give yourself time to get through the anger stages, because you don't want to call yourself trying to help other people when you still have anger in your heart. And that can sometimes happen. And most of us us go through that anger at some point, and we have to work through that, and we have to release it before we can help anybody else. That's just the way I feel. The healing stage, in my opinion, that's when you're done with all those emotions. You're not sad, you're not mad, you're not confused or any of that anymore. Like I said before, you just don't care what these people are doing. As long as they haven't assaulted you, you're focused on deprogramming yourself from that fight or flight mentality. So it's like when you're healing, all you care about is peace. And you don't let these people take that away from you for any reason. For instance, I was standing outside because I was listening to a band practicing, because I used to play the flute and the piccolo when I was younger, and then my son played the drums. So I really loved the band. But I was standing outside and this gray car pulled up with tinted windows, pulls up and parks directly in front of me on the street and just sits there. Now, if I were not in my healing stage, I probably would have whipped out my phone and start taking pictures and recording the license plate numbers and all of that. You guys know the drill. But as I said before, you can't hide energy. I knew this knucklehead was just trying to, I guess, put some kind of fear in my heart or whatever. That's just not happening. Those days are over. I was just drinking my water, leaning on the wall, just looking at him. One of the owners, she was on her way outside, and he rolled his window down, I guess so I could see him or whatever. So we just staring at each other. And I was just drinking my water, staring at him. And I smiled at him. I did a little chuckle. And then he spent off once the owner came all the way outside. You know, those fear tactics, those are done. Those fear tactics, those are lame. When you get into the healing stage, you recognize that all that stuff is lame. You recognize it's weak and it's lame. But it's not like that at the beginning stages. At the beginning stages, you have to show respect for what anybody who's going through the beginning stages are going through, because at the beginning stages, it is terrifying, and it takes a long time to get to the stage to where you really don't care. It takes a long time to get to the stage to where you don't want any trouble with anyone, but you're not about to let anybody bring any trouble to you. And for those who are at the beginning stages, I just really recommend that you focus on yourself. Because to be honest, once you get to the healing stage, it's like these people kind of remind me of how kids act. You know how this guy is when your parents is on the phone and the kids want some attention, so they do all kinds of goofy stuff to try to get your attention. That's what these folks remind me of. Once you get to the healing stage, that's what they remind you of, kids who's looking for your attention. So it's like, at first it's annoying, then they just don't exist to you. It's like they just don't exist. That's just how it feels. They just don't exist to you. Because at the end of the day, think about it. What grown man does that? What grown man comes and sits in front and parks in front of you and try to intimidate you by just sitting there and then wind their window down and just stares at you? It's lame. And I wasn't always able to say that. At one point, like I said, I would have been recording. Now I laughed because it's lame. Because you guys have to remember something. See, these people think that this is like back in the days when there wasn't cameras everywhere. Every house has a camera now. CCTV cameras are all over the place. You know, some cameras they see, some cameras they don't see. And these people want your attention so bad that it's like they forget and they expose themselves. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it's just annoying, but that's about it. That's why I say it's a different world once you get dedicated to healing, because all that extra stuff that they do, just let the cameras pick it up and just don't care. So yeah, it is bigger than just us, guys, because just as they monitor us, you just never know if they're being monitored. And that is something that I absolutely believe in. And I have my reasons for believing that. And see, that's another reason why speaking out is so important. So you can bring awareness to like what it is that these people are doing and their methods. These people are not the only ones who can hack and monitor. And people who do these things, they think they're invincible. They feel like they can monitor you, but for whatever reason, they feel like they can't be monitored. Well, just let them reveal themselves. Let them think that and let them reveal themselves. But yeah, I do agree 100%. All of this stuff we're going through, it definitely is bigger than us. But you know what's bigger than us in this situation? Their egos. And their egos is going to be their downfall. Now, you guys may not have faith in the justice system because of, you know, the actions of some, but believe that the Most High will enact divine intervention and bring justice and balance into your life. But you actually have to believe that, and you have to have faith. Now, I know some of you don't believe in the Most High. You want something more tangible. Now, that's something that I can't help you with because my full faith is in the Most High. And that's actually the other way that I feel like it's bigger than us, because we get spiritually and physically attacked when karma knocks at somebody's door who created their own karma. I mean, think about it. They blame us when the Most High sends karma their way, even though they created their karma. So in a nutshell, guys, I just feel like I just do what I feel is my part in this whole "it's bigger than you" thing. I speak out and I tell the truth. I use my experiences to help anybody who's going through this, no matter what stage you're in. I put my full faith in divine justice and divine timing. I don't give these people any more of my energy. Zero. I give them zero. And it's easy when you are dedicated to healing. Once you have gone through all the stages and the only thing that you focus on is healing, it is a cakewalk to just not give these people your attention. I let them hack my devices, stalk me, publicly defame my character, troll me or whatever. I just sit back and let them reveal themselves. And trust me, as I said before, their egos are so big and they are so obsessed that they will reveal themselves. They can't stop because of that ego. They get sloppy because of that ego. They create their own karma because of that same ego. So yeah, it's bigger than just me. I'm just a catalyst. But I can tell you one thing. I made sure that I allowed myself to care for myself throughout this whole thing. I took all the time I needed and I showed myself all the compassion that I needed before I got to the point of focusing on "it's bigger than just us," because we're important factors in this as well, and we can't just ignore our emotions and we can't just toss it to the side. So please guys, if it triggers you when you hear someone say it's bigger than you, and I've been hearing that all over the place, just know that although that is an actual fact, don't ignore your emotions that you're going through. Don't feel selfish for taking time out and being compassionate with yourself. Take as much time as you need, as long as you need to make sense of it all, and do a lot of self-care. And when you're in the healing stage, when you hear someone say it's bigger than you, you won't even get triggered at all. You'll actually get it. But nurture yourself first, and the rest will come naturally. And don't try to rush yourself, please. Don't try to rush yourself to get to the healing stage. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to accept. Allow yourself to release. Take as much time as you need, guys. And that doesn't make you crazy, because I'm not crazy, and neither are you.